Hi Breindy, thank you. You're doing great. This is just flicking through very quickly. Really encouraging. Excellent stuff. Let's just read what you wrote. Hi, thank you again for this great course. I'm really enjoying it. That's our pleasure. When I did my photo shoot this week, it was very cloudy, and no matter what I set the exposure on, the background looks so bleak. Okay, if the clouds are gloomy or the sky is grey or white, then that's what's going to happen unless you get funky in post. So that's probably the answer to that. I wanted a bit of yellow colouring in the pictures, and after fumbling for a while ended up changing the AWB, the white balance. Okay, so we haven't really learned about white balance yet, and I don't think it's a good idea to get too much involved in that right now, because when we get to it, I think it'll be in the right time. Also, I used a lower ISO as you recommended in my last review. My subject's eyes are still blurry. Will they be able to block the portraits if they'd like? Thank you, and looking forward to your feedback. So let's just quickly look at these pictures. They're beautiful, really beautiful pictures. These are the focus is slightly off. They're going to be fine to print, in short. They are going to be fine to print. This is perfect. This is pin sharp. Excellent. Well done. Excellent. Very good. Yes, you missed the focus of drop as well. This is pin sharp. These are going to be fine to print. They are going to be fine to print. Okay, we'll get into them later because there's a lot to talk about. They're great. Okay, so first things first, widest, and then this next one should be called number 8, and this one 22, which is exactly correct, and you have done fantastically. Okay, your widest aperture, which is with this lens 5.6, which isn't a particularly wide aperture, but it's enough here to really blur out the cup. At f8, which doesn't change particularly that much, but you can see that it's still made a difference in regards to your depth of field slightly, and then f22, that makes a big difference. Excellent, well done, perfectly demonstrated. Perfectly demonstrated. Okay, so now we've got the series of 3 head, quarter, and half. Okay, perfect. I don't think you need to leave more room here, and like we've discussed a few times, remember your point of entry into a face is the eyes, and then we move downwards here, so the eye should always be above the middle of the frame, which is here, which you've done, which is perfect. This is a well balanced portrait, a headshot. This is great. You've cropped in. The truth is as well, you've left a teeny bit more room over here than over here, but that's fine. Why? Because her face is slightly turning in this direction, which means we need a little bit of space there just to give our eye that room to move over and not bang into the side of the frame. Excellent. Well balanced. Great. It's funny how you don't think that so much goes into just into a headshot. Well, we're not even in the world of lighting and stuff, but just in the world of cropping in and making sure there's no extraneous space, it's quite amazing how much actually goes into it. Okay, here we have a quarter shot, so it could be an idea to drop a little bit, to cut a little bit from the top there. You have missed the focus on this picture. You missed the focus. I think it's probably on her hair in the front over here. We don't really see where the focus is. Is it in the back? No, I think it's too far forward. In short, you missed the focus, so that wasn't so good, but the actual crop is great. Like I said, just maybe a slither off the top here. She's moving in this direction. Could have a slither more on this side and a slither less on this side, but we're talking micro adjustments. Great, good shot. Okay, and here we are overexposed. You see here we've got a longer shutter speed in this picture, so this picture is a stop brighter than this picture. If you see, we've changed from a 2/50th of a second to a 1/25th of a second. That means you drop down you raise the exposure by 1 stop, and that's the difference. Again, you've got a nice, you've got a good, demonstrating a good sensitivity to the edges in the image. I would crop a drop more off the top here, and I would leave her hands in. Remember, the rule isn't that you need to leave hands in. The rule is that your eyes should not scrape the edge of the canvas or bang into the edge of the canvas. So over here, we do have a kind of it just scrapes. It doesn't actually bang, because here this line is pulling us up, but it does just scrape, and I think it would just feel that little bit more like pleasurable to just have her hands completely in the frame and to crop a little bit from the top off. Okay, but good again, sensitivity to the directions, that's great. Okay, this is an exceptionally good example of barrel distortion. She will not like this picture, but it's good to know. It's good to know how that happens. The way that we distort with barrel distortion is we get in close and we zoom out all the way, just like you did. You're at 18 millimeters, which means you're zoomed out all the way. You got in close. You got perfect focus. That's great. It's great shot. Again, you don't really use this kind of technique. You can use it for kids blowing funny faces and stuff like that. Obviously, it's not what's the word? It's not very complimentary. Not that. That's not the word. Flattering is the word. It's not flattering generally, but it does add energy and dynamic, like bang, to the picture. So, for example, like at the Hustlers Tish, when I'm taking pictures of them signing the Kasuba, I will do this regularly. I'll get in close and zoom out, and it just creates that kind of more like energized feeling, you know. Like I said, it doesn't work for a girl or for a person generally, unless they're putting a funny face. But it's very good to know how it happens in the, you know, just so to avoid it even. Okay, let's look at your photo shoot. Excellent, great. You found a lovely place here. We've got lovely light on their face. They're nice and close to each other. We've got our point of entry is either way, his face or her face. And we've got a very clean circle. Let's just draw this out 1 second. That's our composition, which is very nice, relaxed. It's interesting because she's facing straight towards you. Her body's moving this way, but because her gaze is so towards us, so strong, we're not falling out of the side of the frame. It could be that it would work a little bit better just to crop off the edge over here. Nope, maybe not. I think you've got the crop. What about cropping it in a little closer? I thought maybe that adds a little bit to it. But great shot. Stats are great. 400 ISO, 4.5. I think that this is your widest aperture. I'm assuming that you're using your kit lens. So you've got your widest aperture. You're at 400 ISO. You haven't learned about that yet, but you will do soon. 200th of a second, which means you managed to freeze them to get them pin sharp. Excellent, good. This is a lovely picture. This is really lovely. I would crop in a little closer. This area here is a little superfluous. Beautiful light. Now what I would do taking this picture, this is excellent, and I would definitely be taking this shot. What I would also do is have them just to look off to my right shoulder, look off to the camera right, and the way the light is falling will leave a very beautiful light on both on his face and on her face as well. That's a lovely shot. I'm wondering if maybe getting up a little bit higher to avoid this darker area here, or lower. I think if you were to get up higher, it would compromise the viewing angle and it wouldn't be good. I don't think that's a big deal. This is great. Stats are beautiful. 200th of a second. You managed to. That's pin sharp. Excellent. This is really good, solid, commercially viable portrait photography. People are prepared to pay money for pictures like this. Excellent. Okay. So your camera it hasn't had such an easy time focusing over here. The focus, you can see, is a little bit forward in the water. Do you see here? Also, this kind of white area here does not add anything to the picture at all. So if you wanted to do a shot like this, I would maybe recommend something like that, maybe even a little closer. and the problem is that they're not really sharp, so it doesn't really work so well. But that's a problem with the camera, in that these kind of images, with your camera, with a basic camera and a basic lens, you're going to have to take a lot of pictures to make sure that you engineer the odds to compensate for the lack of the precision of the focus. So go forward focus on here, take a couple of pictures, focus on here, take a couple of pictures, focus on them, take a couple of pictures. But remember, focus is distance. So just keep mixing it up a little bit. With a picture like this, you'll find with your camera and your lens that there's a good chance that you're not going to nail the focus. So try and engineer the odds to work that out. Okay, beautiful, lovely, excellent, excellent. Pin sharp. Stats are, well, you're not really, we're getting ahead of you a little bit. Next class you're going to learn about ISO, but it'd probably be better to be at 400 ISO at a 400th of a second. I'm thinking also to crop in a little closer. But this is great, really great attention to detail, beautifully placed, very, very precise, which is something that I personally enjoy. He could turn his face a teeny weeny little bit further to you, and if he put his right hand around her shoulder, and that you would just see a couple of his fingers just popping out, not with a big, guys generally put their big hand all over, but if you just have it so you see a couple of fingers popping over here, that would bind it together maybe a teeny bit more. But this is excellent, really nice, beautiful composition, lovely depth, love these leading lines and the textures of the water. Great, really nice shot. Okay, now this I appreciate. You need to practice a little bit more. This idea of putting kind of color texture as a frame has to be done. It needs a bit more than this. It needs to be either more over here. If it's like this, it can end up feeling a bit just like, well, there's a green splodge in the picture. It should really be generally trying to cover more of the image. But this is great, and this shows that you're thinking and you're in the world of textures and colors and depth, perspective, framing. Excellent, excellent stuff. Just next time you try this, maybe try to be a little bit more. I mean, when I'm taking these kinds of pictures, you'll see my camera like pulling down the branch and moving around, etc., etc. So try doing that a little bit. But this is really good, really excellent photography, really excellent stuff. You should be proud of yourself. In regards to Lightroom, what can we do? Let's take this one into Photoshop, not into Lightroom. I'll show you a little bit what I'm talking about. We'll do it kind of roughly, but let's do it anyway. Is adding in, well, let's go to Google and type in Ivy leaves, and let's go to images here, and let's find a bunch of stuff. 1 second. So here, we're just going to do something funky. I found this, it's actually a PNG, which means it's a transparent side. So I'm just going to drag this 1 second onto my desktop. Okay, that's great. That's a big file. I'm going to now take it into Lightroom, into Photoshop. Okay, now we are going to enlarge it. We really want to get rid of that thing, I think. We can do that quite quickly by just using our eraser tool. We just rasterize this. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so now what we can do here is if we take this and we apply a filter of a Gaussian blur, and then let's make a couple of extra copies, and now we're just gonna have fun. Moving stuff around a little bit, make it smaller, larger. And now this one, there we go. Let's just move this around a little bit. Again, we don't want it to really overtake our, not really, we don't want it to overtake our subject. So I'm just going to get rid of this drop over here. I'll just make this a soft brush. There we go. And now I think I will take one more. This time I'm going to mess with the color. Adjustments, here's the hue, saturation. I want to make it more yellowy. There we go. Excuse me 1 second. A bit brighter. Oh, I don't think we need that. We'll leave this one alone. Let's get rid of that. And now I think what I do want to do is just this a little bit closer. And now what we're going to do, which will make it quite a bit nicer, is to crop in. Let's just have a look. There we go. You understand? It's not amazing, but it's the idea of when you're framing, try and really frame as opposed to like we saw originally. It ends up just looking kind of like some splodges. So if you can try and engineer it, moving things around, getting things closer, just to try and really cover the outside of the picture, really will give that extra bit to the picture. In short, amazing. You've done fantastically. You should be proud of yourself, and looking forward to seeing what you do for us next week. Okay, all the best.